all the world's problems solved. Mike,
yes.
one more
World
thing.
hunger's next.
Aditi, we were just talking about the lack of a red wave. What's your stance on abortion?
Plus, she wears a red sweatshirt.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, look, her eyes are just.
I'm pulling us out of this conversation, Aditi. Oh yeah, you have blue as well. Thank you for representing.
And because G has decreed it, I am once again wearing blue jeans.
Hey, the jeans is, listen, she's ready to go. She's been working all week.
I am once again uncomfortable, G, but I am going to follow the G getting back in shape method, which is wear the jeans every day and realize how uncomfortable they are.
Just don't do that on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Always sweatpants on Thanksgiving.
No, there's definitely elastic skirts or something like that on Thanksgiving.
I must ask you, Thanksgiving is coming up, and do you have any traditional Indian dishes that you plan on bringing to your table?
Unfortunately, I am invited to... God, that's a terrible...
Don't say the name now.
To Adam the Bull's house.
Thinking that I'm going to avoid this political conversation because we shouldn't be talking politics or religion, and you got me into a conversation about the in-laws, which is really just promoting the topic.
So unfortunately, you were invited to the in-laws, is what you were going to say.
Correct.
They don't watch, Aditi.
They're Steeler fans.
You're right.
They're not watching.
Yeah, they're not watching.
This is so.
I'm sure they're lovely people.
But you know what? I do make an effort, Mikey. To be fair, I do make an effort to bring something that incorporates a Western traditional vegetable, and perhaps give it a little bit of a twist, which is funny because yesterday, Lacey DaCosta, the Ravens general manager, Eric DaCosta's wife, who is absolutely phenomenal in so many ways, was sort of brainstorming on Twitter for side dish ideas. And I sent her one of my go-tos for a few years, which is curried butternut squash and chickpeas. And it's not a curry sauce, but it's roasted butternut squash, roasted chickpeas with kind of a little curry seasoning, and then a cilantro yogurt sauce. And it's actually really, really good. It's butternut squash,
Aditi,
but it sounds a little bit of kick to it, and that went over well.
This has nothing to do with the curry. You couldn't pay me, and there's not a single thing in there you mentioned that I would want to eat.
You don't like
I would
butternut
eat it all.
squash?
Don't worry. If you bring it in, I would eat it.
You're eating curried butternut squash?
It sounds delicious. Yes,
It is
absolutely.
good. It is good.
Like chickpeas.
How is the dish?
Listen,
Right,
I didn't get to 350 pounds eating butternut squash.
To my mother-in-law's house last year, I brought a lentil and sweet potato salad. It had a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of parsley, some red onion, lentils, sweet potatoes. Lentils, and you have to cook the lentils so they're not smushy. They have to have just like a little bit of...
little snap to them.
Not quite crunch, but a little... Look at him making faces. My goodness, Adam.
I'm sure it's all delicious,
Like a
and I'm
petulant
sure
child.
most normal humans would like it. But I don't like any of that stuff.
Well, that's because you eat ice cream that's like this large. You do remember when Adam took me out for ice cream, right? And
That's
it was
right.
like the most mega-sized ice cream I'd ever seen in my life.
Aditi,
right. I don't mess
as
around.
part of our Thanksgiving Day show, and I'm sad that you won't be here, you'll be at your in-laws, unfortunately.
That's no, actually, Steve uninvited me. Steve told me that I was not part of the Thanksgiving Day show.
Ooh. Well, not by our choice. We would love to have you, but we heard that you have to go to the in-laws. We're gonna all go around the table and we're gonna give something. We're gonna mention something that we're thankful for, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't give our viewers the opportunity to hear from you because you're family, and if Cleveland loves you, we love you. So I would like to give you the opportunity to tell our audience and all of us something that on Thanksgiving in 2022 that you're thankful for.
I'm thankful for the friendship and faith that Adam showed in me to bring me into the Tegna family, the ultimate Cleveland sports show family.
Don't you cry.
I am thankful to Jay for immediately welcoming me into that family and boosting me up. I am thankful to Mike for always keeping me on my toes. And I am thankful to G for pushing me to fit into these jeans.
That's the best
I don't know if I will.
It's the
All
best
important.
one.
All important.
It's forcing. You know, everybody needs a little tough love in their life, and G is offering it.
That motivation. Christmas come around, she gonna be ready to go. She gonna be walking around in the mall like, yeah, I wasn't wearing these last month, but I am now.
I'm chopped liver.
Okay, that's if I survive the next month. Do you guys know that I'm going down to Houston when Deshaun Watson makes his debut? So, like I said,
great.
Oh,
We didn't know that.
I
We
moved
didn't know
down the
that.
sideline. CBS assigned me to that game before they even assigned the analyst and the play-by-play guy. I was told, no
I
matter
love it.
who is calling that game, you will be on the sideline.
That is so.
for that game.
See, this is proof, though, that the NFL loves narratives and plots. Because she was the one who got the original, comment from him on this.
She did.
And they've got like a big chart up in the NFL office. They're like, all right, how do we bring this plot together? Like, we bring back that character from earlier in the year. And they get to meet again.
It's the Saturday clause
That's
at
it.
work.
They love it. They're writing movies. Yep.
Aditi, the question is, though, are
Get
you
it
going
down
to say
there.
hi to Jason Lloyd in Houston? Are you going to big-time him again?
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute, Jason's coming?
Jason
First
will
of
be
all,
there.
I never big-time Jason Lloyd. Okay, I mean, I did make Jason Lloyd to come and look at the puppies with my son at training camp. It is Jason Lloyd who
Right.
big time is me because he is such a big timer. Let's be really honest here. I mean,
Aditi,
yeah, we know that.
I had such high hopes at the beginning of the year that it would be Nance and Romo on that call. Now I'm thinking there's probably slim to no chance at all that that's the
Now
case.
it's going to be Andrew Catalon.
Nothing wrong with Andrew.
No offense to Andrew Catalon. I mean, he did have the
Hey,
great.
just so you know, Andrew Catalon is the next Jim Nance. Andrew Catalon is number 2 on golf. Andrew Catalon is just growing in opportunity, and Andrew Catalon is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
that
human
Andrew
being who
Catalon
takes his
game.
job incredibly seriously and pulls no punches. I do think
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
inside baseball here a little bit, Adam.
Yeah.
I do think it's really sort of important who calls that game because you cannot gloss over in many ways. Let's start with this. Sorry.
Yeah.
In many ways, it's a football game. And people want to watch a football game. And they want to know what happens on first down. And they want to know what the trends are on third down. And they want to know why the Browns keep coming out hot and then collapsing in the fourth quarter. And they want to know if the Texans are going to start Davis Mills or somebody else and if Lovie Smith is back or not. Of course, people want to know what is happening in the game, but you cannot ignore all the rest of it. You cannot gloss over the fact that Deshaun Watson did start his career in Houston and engineered a way out of Houston and everything that has followed since.
Right.
So you need someone who
That's
can
true.
somehow balance all of that without turning it into something that it's not, which is a football game at the end of the day. So
Right. And the
I don't
crowd's
think it's
gonna
an
be
easy
going
assignment
nuts.
by any means.
The crowd's
I'm
going to be
sorry,
going.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. No. The crowd's going to be going nuts. They're going to be booing. It's going to be. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So even if you wanted to ignore it, you really can't because the crowd reaction is going to be very unique.
And exactly. And how do you not, right, Jay? Think
Right.
about when you've called games and what you do. How do you ignore what the environment is?
Right.
If the
can't.
environment is pouring rain, if the environment is 17 degrees and icicles on players' hands, if the environment is in constant onslaught of commentary, if you can't ignore it because it's part of the environment that the game is played in.
And
But-
you know another thing, Aditi, that is in play here. It's very much in play. It's possible that even if the Texans win, it's possible that they walk away with this thing with the first and second picks in the draft. No, it's possible.
Crazy. That's crazy.
No, Bull, it's-
It is possible.
Right
It
now,
is
there's
possible.
one team in the NFL that has fewer wins than the Browns.
Browns are going to
And
go
that's
4-3 in the
Texans.
final 7 games.
That's it. So
You know, it's funny. I have the Texans this week actually, and I'm on the sideline for the Texans at Dolphins game this weekend. And as Mikey knows, I just had an appointment. So as I was racing home, I'm obviously not reading my emails as I'm racing home, but my understanding is that Lovie Smith is leaving ajar the idea that somebody else is starting at quarterback. I think that there are sort of a lot of questions here. I know in advance of this game, we're going to talk to Nick Caserio because there is sort of a young nucleus. There is a very big question at quarterback. Again, I mean, there are people in the state of Texas that care about the Texans and care about what they're doing. And it is a little bit, there's a lot of implications here. And when you think about draft picks and trades, I'll give you the flip side of that. Just yesterday, we were talking about what the Dolphins made away with in the Laramie Tunsil trade. And I could give it to you if you give me half a second.
Oh, yeah, Bradley.
Steve
Isn't it
Becker is
Tyreek?
messaging me.
Isn't it Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, and a third player?
It is a very no.
Oh.
So it's a lot. Okay, of the Laramie Tunsil trade, tackle Julian Davenport, defensive back Johnson Batamosi, cornerback Noah Igbehini, which I need to learn how to say,
From Auburn.
wide receiver Jalen Waddle, safety Javon Holland, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, linebacker Channing Tindall, wide receiver Eric Uzukanama, and linebacker Bradley Chubb.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, but
Those are all players that were acquired either directly or indirectly
From picks
because
that
of
they-
the Laramie Tunsil.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So to that
That's
point,
incredible.
all of these, like this makes me think back to when I was a Giants beat writer and we talked about how the Giants trade for Eli Manning directly and indirectly led to what players. This is something that will live for a long, long time for sure. And I think it's a very valid point, no matter what that draft pick is, whether it is 1 and 2 or
Has
1
anyone
and
ever
6
had
or
the
1
1 and the
and 5,
2?
whatever.
Has that ever happened where a team has had the 1 and the 2?
not that I recall.
Talk about Jay putting me on the spot.
I don't
Do we
remember.
have-
It's-
do we
I-
have research
my-
that tells
no.
that?
The
research
Browns
team
had
is on
1
it.
and
Hold on,
4.
the
I know
research
the
team
Browns
is
had
on it.
1 and 4, but I don't think it's ever happened
Right,
where a
yes.
team-
I doubt
Yes, it has. Yes,
Oh,
it has.
What year?
The 1992 Colts are the only team among the 4
they
American
take?
Specialist Leagues to ever have the first 2 picks in the
Who'd
same
they
draft.
take? You have it?
Is it Jeff George?
I mean, the Browns got a bunch of draft picks in the Carson Wentz deal, and that was they didn't get anybody out of that trade.
I'm pulling up the NFL draft. Hold on, Wikipedia.
Can we put Carson Wentz?
Yes, they
getting
took. You
trumped
guys
on
ready
the
for
flag?
this?
Okay, go ahead.
Steve
I'm sorry, Whedon.
Emptman
He
Oh,
sucked.
God, he was a bust.
and
Yep.
Quentin Corriott.
Wow.
They both were busts.
They made the
Yeah.
most of that.
And the next 2 picks, you guys ready for the next 2 picks? How about Sean Gilbert and Desmond Howard? And how about a
better.
couple picks
Wow.
later? 7 and 8, Troy Vincent, Bob Whitfield. There was 11 Pro Bowlers in the first round.
See,
Yeah, none
we're
of
not
them-
the only ones who screw things up all the
No,
time.
thank God.
We just live in it. We do it a lot, but we just live in it, so we feel it more. But Indy's talking about those moves in the same way that we're talking about our terrible mistakes.
I mean, Baker
Aditi-
Mayfield and
Yeah, I
Denzel
don't know.
Ward.
Yeah, Aditi before.
Thanks,
Although
Indy.
that was funny that you just mentioned
miss.
Carson Wentz, because it kind of makes me think of like if we were going to do a 6 degrees of separation in the National Football League, who would be our guy? It would have to be Carson Wentz, right? Like everybody is connected to him within 6 steps.
I think so.
Yeah.
He is the Kevin Bacon of the NFL. That's right.
He is.
Last thing, I was a year early with my prediction, but it looks like I'm finally going to be right. The Steelers are going to finish under 500. Will you admit that now?
What is there to admit? I mean, I don't have no skin in this game. I
No,
just
I
don't.
know you
I
don't have
mean,
any skin,
I
but-
don't. No, I mean, I don't think that things look good, and I will tell you again, it's the same thing that I say about the Browns when we talked about this. What was more disappointing? I said it was the defense. Well, I feel the same way about the Steelers. This is a $110 million defense, and I get that T.J. Watt was gone for a long time. Everybody's talking about the offense and how predictable it was on Sunday against the Bengals. How about the defense giving up 37 points?
Yeah.
And this is their week 1 starting defense, giving up 37 points to the Bengals, who, P.S., didn't have Jamar Chase and who lost Joe Mixon in the middle of the game as well.
Very true.
So
That's right. And by the way,
I don't think things are
and I'll give Watt credit. I always thought Watt was a little overrated. I was definitely wrong about that. I mean, that interception he made was one of the most ridiculous plays I've ever seen in my life. He is great. But their defense as a whole, I thought was overrated, and I think I am right about that. I don't really think they're good in the back 7. I don't think they're that good in the back 7.
you know what? They have no back end. They thought that having Miles Jack and Devin Bush like really on call kind of would improve the interior of that linebacking core. They still obviously don't have depth at linebacker back end. But let's go back to TJ for just a second, because when I am tough on Myles Garrett, part of it is the consistency. I want to see it week in, week out. The same way that we see it with TJ Watt. Every single week, you be the best player on the field. But number 2, TJ, by virtue of who he is, elevates the play of everybody on the field
That is
around
true.
him.
That's a fact.
That's
When
true.
you've got a guy, and it's not just the football piece of it. It's not just that Cam Hayward doesn't have
You're
to
right.
face a triple team on every play. It's not just that Alex Highsmith isn't getting chipped on every
It's his
play.
attitude.
It's that TJ brings this level of intensity that basically says anybody below that, get off the field. And players feel obligated to match that. Players feel obligated to give their best for the guy who's playing next to them.
Yep.
Can we say that Miles makes everybody around him better?
No.
No.
But TJ
No.
leads by example. You're absolutely right, and he does.
Yes.
He raises the bar for
No
everybody.
doubt, he's
because
great.
Nothing less
Thanks.
than your best.
And he's
is
not
acceptable.
easy on his teammates. Look, he's
Shouldn't be.
not.
Shouldn't be.
And it's interesting because this from player. I mean, this is just a few weeks ago. Travis Etienne is telling me that he thinks that Trevor Lawrence needs more nasty in him. TJ's got some nasty in him. TJ early in his career wouldn't be afraid to go after players that he didn't think he was getting enough out of. You know, we knew that of Tom Brady. That was kind of part of the story with Brian Hoyer when he was in Cleveland, that Brian Hoyer would talk to people like Brady would, and Brian Hoyer hadn't earned that just yet up until that point. So there are players that do lead that way. There are players that simply lead by virtue of their example. But part of the greatest players is that they lead in some way, and they inherently make everybody around them better.
Absolutely
She
right.
makes
Thanks,
everyone
Edie.
around us better.
Love you.
Edie, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll
Bye,
see you
guys.
next
Happy
week.
Thanksgiving to you
Bye,
all.
Edie.
See you
The
next
great
week.
Aditi
Happy
Kinkawala.
Thanksgiving.